Good morning. Glad you all made it, especially right before Labor Day weekend. I wasn't really sure what to expect today. So a strap is optional today for your practice, or a dish towel, whatever you have. We'll start seated today. Let's bring the right shin in front of the left shin. You're welcome to prop yourself up the hips if you feel like that will bring the knees lower than the hips. Then sit up tall, close the eyes. Start to take a deep breath in through the nose. Exhale out of the mouth. 2 more like that. Big breath in. Exhale, let it go. Last cleansing breath together. Then breathe in through the nose. Slowly back out through the nose. Keep going on your own. Ujjayi breath. Dropping right into your practice. Stay focused on the breath. Open up the eyes. Reach the arms forward, palms facing up, right arm on top of the left arm. You can either grab the shoulder blades and bring the elbows down toward the chest, or you can start to bring the backs of the forearms together and the backs of the hands. Maybe you even hook the hands. So you're going to, for some version of Garudasana, eagle arms. And we want to get the hands over the elbows. The hands want to come in toward the face. So see if you can line that up. Hug the belly in, draw the shoulders down the back, and then widen them across the back. And you'll feel that leverage across the forearms and the hands when you do that. Keep that. We want to create some space in the upper back and the shoulders. Maybe you start to play with lifting the elbows up. If the shoulders are really tight and we're just starting out, maybe they hardly move and you can already feel it, or maybe you don't even need to go this far at all and you're fine with the elbows in line with the shoulders. So you modify your practice the way you need so that you get the proper opening in your shoulders and you're still breathing in and out through the nose, up and down the back of the throat. Probably focused on that upper back area, making some space there with the breath. If you lifted the forearms up, bring them back down so they're in line with the elbows in line with the shoulders. Then release the arms down to the sides, but so that your hands are on the knees. And then you'll start to lean forward over the right knee on the inhale, then over to the left knee. And on the exhale, you round back, hanging onto the knee. So we'll keep going in this direction. Right knee to left knee on the inhale, exhale back, hanging onto the knees. Keep going with these Sufi rolls in this direction, still staying with the breath. Do one more circle. We'll meet at the top, sitting up tall. Sitting up tall, reach the arms all the way up on the inhale, forward fold on the exhale, only if there's enough room in the hips. Maybe the fingertips come down to the mat. Maybe you're able to walk all the way forward. If you have blocks, that might be a nice thing to use here. Let the head and the neck go. Gentle opening in the hips. And then you'll start to walk the hands back in if you folded pretty far forward, sitting back up tall. So extend the left leg out in front of you and cross the right ankle on top of the left thigh. And then you're going to take your fingers and you're going to weave them through the toes. So there's a finger between each toe. So it's like you're holding your foot, and then see if you can get the webbing of the hands and the webbing of the toes to totally connect. And then once you have that, spread the fingers as wide as you can, stretching out the toes. It's pretty intense. and then gently release. Grab onto the foot. So you still have the fingers between the toes. Grab onto the foot so the palm of the hand is meeting the ball of the foot and the fingers are at the top of the foot. And then you'll just move the foot back and forth. So you're getting some movement in the top of the foot. Might not feel like you're doing anything. Wait till we're done. And then stop the movement, hang onto the foot, and then spread the fingers as wide as you can again, opening up the feet. Start to wiggle the fingers out of the toes, extend the right foot, and notice the difference between the way the right foot looks and the left foot looks. Might be a different color. Don't you wish you were in a room with a bunch of people and you could see what was going on with their feet? All right. So come back to an easy cross-legged seat, left foot in front, left shin in front. Back to where we started. Reach the arms forward. This time, left arm on top of the right arm. And same thing here. Maybe you grab the shoulders, maybe the backs of the forearms, maybe the hands hook. Lift the elbows up to shoulder height. Move the hands away from you so they're stacked right over the elbows. Draw the shoulders down the back, hug the belly in, sit up tall, look forward. Maybe there's a little gap between the arms if you do have the arms in front of you. And then if there's any space in the lower back without drawing the shoulders up toward the ears, maybe you start to play with lifting the forearms up just to where you feel a nice feel good stretch between the shoulder blades. Bring the hands to the knees, releasing the clasp of the arms. On an inhale, move the chest over the left knee, then to the right knee, and then come back on the exhale. And you'll keep going in this direction, left to right on the inhale, exhaling back, coming into our Sufi rolls, going in the opposite direction. Sometimes it's nice to close the eyes. That's up to you. One more cycle. Come back to sitting up tall. Maybe arms out to the sides is good enough for you on this hip, or maybe you reach the arms up and bring the hands down in front of you. You go as far forward as you want. Listen to the hips to let you know where to stop. Hands start to walk back in toward the body. If you folded forward, hang on to this left ankle, extend the right leg forward. Just rest the left ankle on top of the right thigh. Take the right hand, weave it between the toes. On this other foot, we're going to do the same thing. See if you can connect the webbing of the fingers and the toes. So it's a pretty deep stretch. And then once you have that, spread the fingers as wide as you can, spreading the toes as wide as you can. Then grab onto the top of the foot, start moving the ball of the foot back and forth and the toes back and forth. So I'm just going forward and back. My elbows moving to kind of help with that action. All right. And then see if you can get a tighter grip with getting the webbing of the fingers and the toes closer together. You'll stop that movement and then spread the fingers as wide as you can again, opening up those toes and the feet. Start to take the fingers out, extend the left leg. Notice how the feet look more similar. All right. Bring the feet in. So the soles of the feet are on the mat. Reach the arms forward. So make sure the soles of the feet are on the mat. If they're not, then adjust them so that they are. Hug the core in. Lift the chest as you reach the arms forward. And come back to Navasana. So you're just going to tip back enough so that you can lift the feet, squeeze those inner thighs together. You can keep bent legs. And if it's too much to have the arms out in front of you, you can bring the hands down by the sides and still keep that nice open chest. Squeeze the thighs. Either way, hands down or arms forward, come down to Ardha Navasana. So you're hovering the feet, hovering the shoulder blades. Come back to Navasana. Lower down, Ardha Navasana. Back up, Navasana. And if you're doing it with hands down, the hands stay down the whole time. Ardha Navasana, Navasana, Ardha Navasana, Navasana. One more. Ardha. Back up to boat pose. And then cross the ankles, shift forward onto hands and knees. You're taking plank pose. Stack the shoulders over the wrists, spread out the fingers, feet hip width distance apart. And then notice those feet. So you're on the balls of the feet, toes are spread, you're reaching the heart forward and you're trying to engage all the muscles in the entire body to hold you. So it's not falling in just one area. And then slowly lower all the way down to the mat. You can use the knees to get there. Tops of the feet to the mat. Inhale up for cobra, just a little one to start. Exhale, let that go. Two more. Inhale up, cobra. Exhale, release. Last one. Inhale up, cobra. This time, exhale, release, stretch the arms back behind you, palms facing one another. Keep pressing into the tops of the feet. Lift up, Shavasana. So you're stretching the fingertips back behind you. You're still squeezing the hands together to keep the arms active. Lower back is lengthening. So you're pointing that tailbone back toward the heels and you're lifting the lower belly. Take one more inhale, lift up. Exhale, release, hands come down by the lower ribs, come up to hands and knees, tuck the toes, downward facing dog. So the heels don't have to touch the mat, but there should be some effort to get them to descend down toward the mat. And then if you can see the heels, hide them behind the balls of the feet. And that should help you broaden the backs of the thighs. And then widen the feet to the pretty wide, like close to the edges of the mat. Walk the hands back toward the feet. You're coming into a wide-legged forward fold. You can clasp opposite elbows. Let the head and the neck go. Switch the grip, other form in front. Then hands to the mat in front of you. Come up halfway, turn the heels in, toes out, come down for Malasana, a yogi squat. And you can use a block underneath you. You don't have to come all the way down, especially if it feels too early for this. Otherwise, elbows in front of the knees and the insides of the knees, lift the chest up, look straight forward. Try not to move the eyes. Press down to the feet, lift the pelvic floor, and have that long line of energy all the way up through the crown of the head. Make sure you're still breathing in and out through the nose, up and down the back of the throat. Then bring the hands down to the mat, straighten the legs, heel toe the feet back to hip width. Walk the hands forward, back to downward facing dog. Maybe the heels stay closer to the mat, if not touching. And step the right foot forward, up between the hands. Reach the heart forward, come into a lunge, and then straighten the front leg. So both legs are straight. You're folding over the right leg, getting some length there. Inhale, back to your lunge, plant the hands, step back to plank pose, step the left foot forward. Runner's lunge, reach the heart forward, stretch that right leg back, then straighten the left leg, folding over the left leg. Inhale forward to a lunge. Step the right foot forward to meet the left foot. Forward fold at the top of the mat. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, circle the arms all the way up. Bring the palms together overhead and down in front of the heart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhaling up halfway. Exhale, hands down to the mat. Step back to plank pose. Lower halfway down to the mat. Up dog or cobra. Exhale back, downward facing dog. So coming into our Surya A's, you can modify the vinyasas, you can skip them, but try to get a little bit warmed up. So if you are skipping them, maybe you add a couple extra, maybe you add an extra half sun salute before you go back to down dog. Bend the knees, look forward, step, walk, bring the feet up between the hands. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, circle the arms all the way up, bringing the hands together overhead and down in front of the heart. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hands down, step back to plank pose. Lower down halfway, chaturanga. Inhale up for your back bend. Exhaling back to downward facing dog. Still hiding the heels behind the balls of the feet. Bend the knees, look forward, bring the feet forward. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way up. Bring the hands together overhead and down in front of the heart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhaling up halfway. Exhale, hands down, back to plank pose. Chaturanga. Inhale up for your back bend. Exhale back, downward facing dog. Bend the knees, look forward, last cycle, feet forward. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up, bring the hands together and down in front of the heart. Inhale, reaching the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, hands down, back to plank or jump back to chaturanga. Inhale up for your back bend. Exhale back, downward facing dog. Right foot steps up between the hands. Coming back into that runner's lunge, feet hip width distance apart. Then reach the arms forward, hovering over that front thigh. We're taking this to warrior two. Lift the chest, spin that left heel down flat. You'll need to heel toe that front foot in a little bit, probably. Open up across the chest, spread the arms out wide. Use both legs evenly. So find that lunge in the front leg, but still root down through the back leg. It helps too to keep the head over the hips. If you're leaning too far forward, you just get lighter in that back leg and that back foot. Right forearm, right thigh, turn the palm to face up, reach that left arm straight up to the sky. So side angle pose, open up across the chest. See if you can keep that right knee over the right ankle so it's perfectly stacked, or maybe it's behind. Still rooted in that back leg, turn that left palm to face behind you, wrap the left arm behind the back. So you're coming into a half bind, opening up the left side, shoulder and chest area. Float that right arm forward, palm facing up, reverse warrior. Keep the lunge in the front leg. I know it's turning on. And then windmill the hands down to the mat. Step back to plank pose. Optional vinyasa to downward facing dog. Left foot steps forward. Runner's lunge. Take your time. Make sure you have enough distance between the feet. Reach the arms forward. Hover over that front thigh. Get strong in the legs, strong in the core. Take it to warrior two. Right heel comes down flat. Open up wide across the chest. Find that even balance between the weight distributed into the legs. Maybe that means you reach back a little bit more with that right arm to get that back leg just as turned on. And then you come back to the breath. Keep that gaze straight forward. See if you can keep the eyes still. Left forearm, left thigh, palm facing up. Reach the right arm straight up. Use that to open up the chest a little bit more. And then notice if you started to straighten the left leg at all. Keep the lunge. Right palm turns to face behind you. Wrap the right arm behind the back. Doesn't matter where that hand lands. Just find the nice opening on the right side chest and shoulder. Rooting down through both legs. Start to stretch that left arm forward, palm facing up. Take that to reverse warrior, nice and slow. Keep the lunge in the front leg as you reach up and back. Hands come down to the mat. Make your way back, downward facing dog with or without a vinyasa. Then bend the knees, look forward, bring the feet forward. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Interlace the fingers behind the back. If it's too much, grab a strap, put it between the hands. So staying in your forward fold, knuckles go up and back. Keep the shoulders away from the ears, leaving plenty of space for the neck. And keep lifting the hips up as you lengthen the back sides of the legs. Hands come down to the mat. Come to chair pose. Bend the knees, reach the arms up. All the way up to standing. Hands come together, down in front of the heart. Inhale, sit back, chair pose, Utkatasana. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hands down, make your way back, downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, right foot steps forward up between the hands. Stay on the ball of the back foot. Reach the arms forward, hovering over that front thigh. Warrior two. Spin that left heel down flat. Find a nice long stride in your warrior two. Stay even in both legs. Right forearm, right thigh. Left arm straight up. Side angle pose. Take the half bind by turning that hand, top hand to face behind you. Wrap the left arm behind the back. Keep the lunge in the front leg. Then float that right arm forward, palm facing up, straighten the front leg. You're still reaching that right arm forward, opening the chest. Lightly bring that right hand down to the shin. You don't need to lower the chest at all. Just keep opening up toward the sky, squeezing those legs together. Reverse warrior. Bend the front leg, reach that right arm up and back. Then straighten the front leg, bring the hands to the hips, turn those right toes in, fold forward halfway, then bring the hands down in front of the shoulders. Walk the hands over to the left leg. So maybe you can touch it, maybe you can't, that's fine. Just if you can, then grab the foot or the ankle or the calf, whatever's right there. Keep those legs turned on. So it's still like you're trying to squeeze them together. Then bring the hands back in front of the shoulders, lifting yourself up halfway. Turn the toes to the top of the mat, finding a lunge. Step back to plank pose, maybe a vinyasa on the way to downward facing dog. Left foot steps forward, runner's lunge. Reach the arms forward and hover over that front thigh. Warrior two. Left forearm, left thigh, side angle pose, right arm reaches up, open the chest. Half bind, wrap that right arm behind the back. Left arm starts to float forward, palm facing up. Straighten the front leg. Keep reaching forward with that left arm. Hips shift back. Lightly bring that left hand down to the shin. Keep the chest where it is. Just keep opening it up toward the sky, squeezing those legs together. Reverse warrior. Float that left arm forward, up and back. Bend the left knee. Then straighten the front leg, hands to the hips. Turn those left toes in. So both toes are the toes are pointing in or straight forward, but not out. Fold forward, hands down in front of the shoulders. Walk the hands over to the right leg. Maybe grab the foot. Hands come back underneath the shoulders, lifting yourself up halfway. Turn to face the top of the mat in a lunge. Step back, down dog, vinyasa. Up to you. Bend the knees, look forward, feet forward. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Interlace the fingers, one finger over behind the back in this forward fold. Bring the hands back down to the mat, chair pose. Bend the knees, reaching the arms up. All the way up to standing, hands come together, down in front of the heart. Inhale, sit back, chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhaling up halfway. Exhale, hands down, make your way back, down dog. Right foot steps up, find that lunge, reach the arms forward, hovering low over that front thigh. Take it to warrior two. Left heel down, right foot comes in a little bit. Stay even in both legs. Reach back with that left arm. Right forearm, right thigh, left arm goes straight up, side angle pose. Then take the half bind. Wrap that left arm behind the back. Open up. Float the right arm forward, palm facing up. Keep the chest where it is. Start to straighten the front leg. Right hand comes down, resting lightly on the shin. Keep opening up the left side chest. Then float that right arm forward, palm facing up, reverse warrior. Straighten the front leg, bring the hands to the hips, turn those right toes in, fold forward halfway, hands down in front of the shoulders, walk the hands over to the left foot. So maybe you grab the left foot with the right hand. Maybe this left hand comes to the left hip. And then you start to open the chest so you can lift, stay even in the legs, coming into a deeper twist. Start to release, walk the hands back in front of the shoulders, coming up halfway. Turn to face the top of the mat in a lunge. Step back to plank pose any way you want, back to downward facing dog. Left foot steps forward. Runner's lunge. Reach the arms forward, hover over that front thigh. Warrior two. Left forearm, left thigh, right arm straight up, side angle pose. Turn that right palm to face behind you, wrap the arm behind the back. Left arm floats forward, straighten the front leg, go slow with control. Bring that left hand down, leaving the chest where it is as you open it up. Keep the belly hugged in. Reverse warrior. Reach that left arm forward, bend the left knee, reach up and back. Straighten the front leg, bring the hands to the hips, turn those left toes in, fold forward halfway, then bring the hands down. Walk the hands over to the right leg. Maybe left hand connects with the right foot. Maybe right hand to the right hip. Twist. Get that length in the spine, length in the legs as you open. Hands back in front of the shoulders, lift up halfway, lunge at the top of the mat. Walk the hands forward any way you want, maybe a vinyasa or skip it to down dog. Bend the knees, look forward, bring the feet up between the hands. This time, come to seated on the mat. So you're coming into Navasana. You could take chair pose to get there, or you can just use the hands, come to seated, float the feet up, reach the arms forward, lift the chest. Same options as before. You can keep the hands down on the ground outside of the mat, or you can reach the arms forward. Ardha Navasana. Back up, boat pose, Navasana. Ardha. Back up, Navasana. Keep that core tight. Bring it back down, Ardha Navasana. Make sure you're using the inner thighs so they're squeezing together. Ardha. Back up, Navasana. Careful of the neck, it wants to help. Back up, Navasana. One more cycle. Ardha. Back up, Navasana. Chair pose. Use the hands. Get yourself back to chair. And exhale, forward fold. So keep the feet hip width distance apart. Spend some time in this forward fold. See if you can shift the weight forward so that the balls of the feet are heavier than the heels of the feet, and lift the hips up and broaden the backs of the thighs. Right hand comes to the right hip. Here's where you can use your strap if you want to. You either grab the big toe with the peace fingers and the thumb, or you take your strap, you loop it around the sole of the foot, and you bring your hand pretty close to the foot. You can always loosen the grip if you need to. Right hand to the hip, come back like you're doing chair pose, but you won't be able to do as much of a chair pose because you're hanging onto the foot. So you either have a big toe or a strap. Keep reaching the heart forward, hug that outer right hip in, start to shift the weight over to the right foot, lifting the left heel. You're coming up to standing, keeping that knee hugging in toward the chest. Just you don't need to extend the leg or anything. Reach the right arm forward, up. And that left sit bone, lower it until it's level with the right sit bone. Extend that left leg forward. Keep the hand and the foot either connected or as close as possible. Turn those left toes out so you get that rotation in the hip. Open the leg out to the side. Right arm can come out to the side. Stand as tall as you can on the right side. That outer right hip hugs in. Lower belly lifts up. Chest is open. Proud. Breathe. Make sure you're looking forward. If you come out, you come right back in. Start to bring that leg forward. Right arm reaches up. If you have the strap, lose it. Just drop it. Both arms reach up. Hug the knee into the chest, step back to a lunge. Arms reach forward, hover low over that front thigh. Warrior two. Right forearm, right thigh, side angle pose. Lift the left arm up, wrap the left arm behind the back. Right arm floats forward, palm facing up, straighten the front leg. Bring that right hand down lightly to the shin, open up across the chest. Reverse warrior. Bend that front leg, reach the right arm up and back. Straighten the front leg, bring the hands to the hips. Turn those right toes in. Reach the arms out wide, like a T shape. Right hand, left foot. Everything stays straight. You're coming into the twist. Left arm reaches up. Hand to the hip is fine too if it's too much for the shoulder. Come back up to standing, that T shape. Nice and slow, arms out wide. Hands to the hips, fold forward halfway, bring the hands down in front of the shoulders. Turn the toes to the top of the mat. Back in that lunge. Left foot steps forward next to the right foot, but keep them so that they're hip width distance apart. Let the head and the neck go. Here's your forward fold. And we're going straight into the other side. If you want to use the strap, loop it around the sole of the right foot, or grab the big toe with the peace fingers and the thumb. And if you're not sure, start with the big toe, peace fingers and the thumb, see what happens. Left hand to the hip, bend the knees, almost like chair pose, reach the heart forward, hug that outer left hip in. If it swings out to the side, you don't have a steady base to come up. So hug it in, fire up that left leg, knee points forward, keep looking forward, start to shift the weight over to the left foot, hovering the right, hug that knee in toward the armpit, come up to standing. Left arm reaches up, lower the sit bone. That right sit bone wants to lift up high, lower it until it's level with the left, and then play with extending the leg. It doesn't have to be all the way straight, especially if you have the big toe. Then turn the right toes out to the right, left arm out to the left, open the leg out to the side, still standing tall. That left thigh wants to go forward. You're pushing it back, standing as tall as you can. Back to center, reach the left arm up, right leg forward, lose the strap. Everyone reach the right arm up. Bend that right leg, step back to that lunge, hovering over the front thigh, reaching the arms forward. Warrior two. Left forearm, left thigh, side angle pose. Wrap that right arm behind the back. Start to float that left arm forward. So that way the legs turn on. Then start to straighten the front leg. Go slow, use those muscles. Left hand down, keep opening up the chest. Float that left arm forward, palm up, reverse warrior. Bend that front leg, reach up and back. Then straighten the front leg, hands to the hips, turn those left toes in, reach the arms out wide like a T shape. Keep everything straight, left hand, right foot. Go nice and slow. Keep as much length as you can. Once the hand connects with the foot, ankle, calf, whatever it is, open up across the chest. Reach that right arm up. Breathe. Keep pressing down into the feet and the legs. Come back up to where we started. Lift that left arm back up. Come back into that T shape with the arms. Bring the hands to the hips. Fold forward halfway. Hands come down to the ground in front of the shoulders. Turn the toes to the top of the mat. Come back to that runner's lunge. Step the right foot forward. Forward fold. Interlace the fingers behind the back. Let the knuckles go back behind the head. Hands come down to the mat. Inhale up halfway. Exhale full. Let's come all the way up. Circle the arms all the way up to standing. Bring the hands together down in front of the heart. Full Surya A, last vinyasa. Inhale, circle the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhaling up halfway. Exhale, make your way back, downward facing dog. Take your time. Once you get to downward facing dog, see how close you can get the heels to the mat. Still keeping the arms and legs really long, lifting the hips up, broadening across the backs of the thighs. One last stretch in your down dog. Then bring the knees down to the mat. Come to seated on your mat, extending the legs forward. Scoot yourself forward. We'll set up for a bridge pose. So we'll do a few rounds of back bends. You're welcome to use a block and bring it back with you next to the hips if you want to take a more restorative version of bridge pose. Otherwise, if you feel like you're up for an active bridge pose, play with that. We'll do 3 rounds. You can do a combination, but start with bridge or supported bridge. Press into the feet, lift the hips up, interlace the fingers underneath you as you get the shoulders underneath the chest so you can lift and spread it, pressing those outer upper arms into the mat. Keep the legs active. One more inhale. Exhale brings you back down to the mat. Just let all that go. Be heavy for a couple of breaths. And we'll come into our second back bend. Bridge, restorative bridge, or maybe you take Urdhva Dhanurasana. You can always wait until the 3rd round. Press into the feet, lift the hips up, find bridge or supported bridge, or maybe hands back by the ears, come up to the top of the head and press yourself up. Urdhva Dhanurasana. Chin to chest. If you're all the way up, slowly make your way back down. If you're on a block, you can stay there. Rest, let the body be heavy if you're not on a block. And we'll come into our third and final round. Press down into the feet, lift the hips up, bridge, Urdhva Dhanurasana, you decide. Start to make your way back down to the mat. If you're on a block, lift the hips up, set the block off to the side. And then take happy baby, reach through the insides of the legs, grab the outer edges of the feet, keep the hips down. And as you take happy baby, you can keep the legs bent. You could straighten one leg or both. Start to bring the legs back together, back down onto the mat, the feet come. And then we'll take a spinal twist. Reach the arms out wide, scoot the hips over to the right, bring the knees to the left. Switch sides. So your right arms are reaching out to the right, knees are going to the right. Just bring the left arm all the way over so it's also going in the same direction. And use the hands to bring yourself up to seated. We're taking a wide-legged straddle. If you have a block, it might be nice to have one near you. You can turn to face the side or face forward. You make yourself comfortable. So Upavishta Konasana. So the heels and toe, or the toes and knees point straight up. Left arm can come inside of the left leg. Right arm reaches up and over. Make sure that those right toes and knees don't cave in. You get so focused on the left side of the body that you start forgetting about the right leg. Keep opening up the chest, reaching up and over. If you touch the foot, that's fine, but don't have a goal to. Sometimes that makes us stretch a little too far. Slowly start to make your way back up. Right arm comes inside of the right leg, left arm reaches up and over. And if it feels like the mat's too far away, that's where you can use your block and rest the forearm on the block and reach up and over. So you decide. Left knee and toes point straight up. Keep opening up across the chest. Getting as long as you can on the torso, the legs. Slowly make your way back up to center. Maybe have a block or two near you. Push them out in front of you. Sit up as tall as you can. Keep the knees and the toes up. Start to fold forward, keeping the legs right where they are. So as you fold forward, if you're not all the way forward and there's a big gap between where the forehead is and where the ground is, that's where you can use your blocks to build so that you can rest the forehead on something. Once the forehead rests, it's easier to focus on keeping the knees and the toes up and lengthening the legs. But the heels should feel like they're coming in toward the body, not pushing away from you. And you're here for several breaths. So if at some point the body really starts to release and you've built a little fort with your blocks and you want to start building down, you can start to take away blocks, lower them. So if you find that you're making more space, you allow that to happen. And slowly start to make your way back up to seated. Set the blocks off to the side if you were using them. Bring the hands underneath the thighs and start to bend the legs to bring the soles of the feet back together. Turn to face forward. If you switched the direction you were in, and then with the feet on the mat, reach the arms forward, hug the belly in, start to round the spine, and slowly start to bring yourself down to the mat. Keep reaching forward as long as you can. Head is the last thing to come down to the, oh no, wait, hands are. Bring the head down, bring the arms out to the sides, extend the legs out in front of you, coming right into Shavasana. Lift the chest and the shoulders, and then set them back down so they're right underneath you. If you feel like you'd rather do a seated meditation today, then come on up, get yourself comfortable, do a seated meditation. If you're in Shavasana, find that place where you can come into stillness, letting go of the body. So get any last fidgets out, get yourself set up. Take a deep breath in. Exhale out of the mouth, let it go. Right into Shavasana, here for a few minutes. to wiggle the fingers and those toes. Maybe you spread them out as wide as you possibly can. Then start to reach the arms overhead. Find a nice long stretch. Walk the feet in, bending the legs. Roll over onto your right side. Stay there. Breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. Use the hands. Bring yourself up to an easy cross-legged seat, sitting up tall, eyes closed if you can. Coming back to this place of feeling centered, feeling more like you. Bring the hands together in front of you. Bow the head to honor and acknowledge your heart and spirit, as well as everyone around you. Bring the head back up, blink open the eyes. Namaste. Thank you. Hope you all have a nice long weekend and enjoyed your practice.